Yeah, it is Friday the 10th of June today, and about time that I introduced the June vlog. We're already 10 days into June. As you probably saw in the B-roll, I spent the first week in June on a little family trip to France, and we're back now. I've been back for a couple of days. I've just been procrastinated actually styling this vlog. Part of the reason being that we got completely eaten up by mosquitoes on one of our last evenings in France, and I haven't been sleeping very well, so I haven't been wanting to sit in front of the camera for a couple of days. But I'm feeling a little bit better now. I slept better last night, so I'm feeling a little bit more like myself, even though I probably still have a couple of eye rings, but just ignore those. Yeah, so in theory, this is my writing vlog for Project Sight, which I'm currently working on draft 4 on. I'm not actually entirely sure on how much writing we're gonna be able to do this month. I've only managed 1 hour in the last 10 days, and that was during the flight to France. And even though I'm back now, I've got quite a lot on my plate. Again, I mean, when do I not really? But yeah, because I took these 10 days effectively off writing, and then I also took some time off writing at the end of May. It's been almost a month that I haven't touched my book for properly, and I'm feeling a little bit intimidating, and that's probably also part of the reason I haven't gotten started yet since being back. But I gotta get back into it at some point, and I'm sure that I'll feel better about it once I actually get started. The hour of writing that I did do on the plane wasn't actual writing, it was mostly brainstorming some solutions to some of the problems that I figured out that this draft had. Hi, editing Marta here, because I realized that I did a terrible job at explaining this the first time round. I believe that what I was trying to say is that I have a couple of problems that I identified when I was rereading of certain aspects of the world and relationships with our characters that weren't actually introduced properly. So the thing that I was working on during the flight was brainstorming out how to introduce those things that I had skipped in an actual scene, so I'm not just info dumping, as well as where in the story to put that scene, which is the chapter that I'm talking about in this bit. Okay, I'll let you get back to the video. And I think I figured out that there's one chapter that is currently only 1,000 words. Most of my chapters are between 2,000 and 2,500 words, and I think that I can restructure it a little bit. So if the chapter has 2 scenes, so if I turn them around so that they're differently ordered, then the second scene, I want to remove the ending altogether and write a new ending and like a larger ending. So it's gonna add a whole extra thing to that I think should be able to fix a couple of the problems that I've been having with Lisa's chapters. I'm working on Lisa's chapters this month, by the way. Don't think I mentioned that. So that's the first thing I want to tackle this month, and then considering how many other things I'm doing, if that's the only big change I tackle, that's fine. I might just work on some smaller changes after that, just to keep the momentum going. I don't think I'm gonna get started on that tonight though. I have some friends coming over tomorrow, and I want to do some baking for them. I have a few extra apples that I wanted to use up, so I think I'm gonna be making some apple cake. And then I also want to finish unpacking any last remaining things that I've left around the house and just tidy everything and make sure everything's clean. But I'm hoping if I do all of that tonight, then I should have a couple of hours to write in the morning before my friends get here. But I guess the first thing on the to-do list is to go make some apple cake. Let's go do that.
I don't think that I'm being that selfish right now. You said yourself you'd be breaking every vow. I can understand you're tired of this town, and I'm not saying that we have to settle down now. Just remember this: we could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there, made us realize we're more than just stardust. Ignore this fact if you must, to do what your dreams are telling you to do. And I'll be out there looking for someone like you.
Hi, it is Sunday the 12th of June, and realistically, I have a feeling that today is gonna be the only day this month in which I actually have the entire day to write with nothing else to do, which has been a really good motivation to just sit down and write, because I know I'm not gonna get a lot of writing time this month other than today. So I spent most of the morning working on that chapter that I mentioned, and I have rearranged and rewritten sections of the part that I already had, and now I've gotten to the point in the chapter where I'm gonna write an entirely new ending and ideally add an extra 1,000 words to this very short chapter. So I'm really excited for that. It's been a while since I wrote an entirely new scene like that. I've already been brainstorming my ideas a little bit more, and I think I know what I'm doing, although there's still some bits that I'm not actually sure how they're gonna work, but we'll figure it out as we write. I have been finding that even though this book started out as a discovery written book, the further I get in revisions, the harder it is for me to write scenes without knowing exactly what I'm doing. I'm relying more and more on having a very clear outline, even on a scene by scene level. Like, to write a new scene, I literally need a paragraph by paragraph outline, because I get very anxious about adding something new that might upset everything else, and it needs to be designed in a lot of detail so that it will still fit and make sense and tie everything together and not break anything else, or at least not break anything else to the point where it's not fixable. And of course, this is my first time actually revising a book properly and working from an outline, not necessarily this draft, just this project in general. So I am curious as to, when I start a new project, if I am going to be able to discovery write it, or if I'm going to just switch to outlining as a method from now on. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen, but I guess I don't have to worry about that anytime soon, because this project is not getting finished anytime soon. Either way, I'm really excited to write this new scene. I think it's gonna work really well, and I'm just very excited about some of the problem it solves, but it's gonna be really interesting, and I don't know, I really like it. I think it's very cool, and I'm looking forward to writing it and hopefully it living up to what it looks like in my head. For a little bit of extra motivation, since I've already been working on this all morning, I am going to be making myself some tea. I got this little bag of tea when I was in France last week. It's from a fancy tea shop in... I'm 95% sure I bought this in Nims, but we went to so many different places I can't actually remember which city I bought this from anymore. Either way, it's rooibos and vanilla, and it smelled delicious, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm very excited to, so I'm gonna be drinking this while I work on my book. I also got a free sample thingy, which is a different type of rooibos, which I'm gonna be trying at a different date because I want to start with this one. But let's go make some tea and write a book. That tea is still way too hot to drink, but it smells so good, oh my god. Hi, it's the 19th of June at the minute, which means that I basically only have 2 days left until I officially finish the 3 weeks during I'm supposedly focusing on writing this month. I gotta be honest, I haven't done a lot this month. I managed to finish the chapter that I rewrote pretty much from scratch at this point. It's just about finished. I wrote the ending of it last night, and I just want to go through it again and make sure I still like it, but other than that, it's basically finished. And I also want to quickly go into the next chapter, and just the very beginning of the chapters is gonna now need a continuity change, but other than that, I can basically take off this item now. Since it's so late in the month, I'm not really sure if I'm gonna have any more time to write other than today, because I have a busy day in the lab tomorrow again, and I might have to go back on Tuesday. I really hope I don't, but it might happen, which means that today might be my last actual writing day this month. Although yesterday I really didn't have the creative energy to write. I'd had a really long week at work, so I actually ended up doing a bunch of video editing, which I'm not supposed to be doing during the first 21 days of the month, but I did, and now the video is pretty much halfway done at the very least. So if I end up writing for a couple of days longer this month, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I should still be able to take some time off at the end of the month to catch up on editing and all of that. But even then, I don't want to start on a really big item. I don't want to leave something difficult and brain power requiring halfway through when I stop writing for the month. So what I'm going to do today instead, after I finalize the chapter and the following chapter that I've been working on, I want to go back to the very start of the book and go through those Lisa chapters. Because of the fact that I'm working from major changes to minor changes, the first part of the book in which Lisa's in a different location, I haven't actually touched yet this month because it's very minor compared to everything else, because anything that affects it, at least for this book, only influences part 1, which means that in my list it's marked as single part instead of multiple parts, so it's at the very bottom of the list. But a lot of those changes are easier to do, and I feel like I could do them in one day. There's some changes that affect multiple chapters in part 1, as well as some changes that are just like single chapter changes. So what I want to do today is basically try and go down that list and fix as many of those problems as I can, and just try and get the number of problems down so it looks like I'm actually making progress, and so I can feel better about myself, basically. Hi, it is the 25th of June, and you'll be pleased to hear that I've been procrastinating outroing this video just as much as I procrastinated introing it, so you're welcome. So over the last week, I continued working on those user changes that I mentioned for the first part. I managed to tick off 3 of them, and I've also ticked off 1 item for the later chapter that I worked on at the start of the month. I did technically tackle more things with that chapter, but some of them, like for example, one of them is making this location seem more dangerous. So technically this new scene does do that. It puts Lisa into a dangerous situation while she's in that location that I want to make feel more dangerous. But I feel like it's not enough. Like there's more stuff that I can do to make that feel more dangerous across different chapters, and the same is the case for a couple of the other problems that I was supposed to be tackling in that chapter. So even though I've made some progress on a lot of different items, I haven't ticked off more than 1 for that chapter, which means I've ticked off 4 items total this month. I started at 57 problems and now we have 56. Because yes, I am still adding things to this list as I go, so it really feels like we're not making any progress, doesn't it? So ignoring that statistic, because it is clearly a depressing way of showing progress at this point, I have worked on this book for 15 hours this month, which is not great, but it is more than I was expecting to get done this month, considering how I've been traveling, and also I had a lot on my plate at work, so I'm happy with it. It's 15 hours that I didn't have last month on this. I am hoping to get a lot more done than that next month during Camp July. Hopefully some of that nano energy will help me actually make that number of problems list go down by more than 1. We'll see. But yeah, that's everything from me for now. Feel free to let me know how your month went and what you're currently working on, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.